It's Sunday afternoon at the Generation Adidas Cup. Moments away from the premier final, the Academy Giants of Palmeiras, one of the most storied youth factories in world football, are ready to face a fearless, fast-rising side from the Music City, Nashville SC's U18, who have danced through pressure moments themselves. Well, it's been great to be alongside former MLS striker Kalen Carr all week long. Thanks for joining us at the IMG Academy. I'm AJ Ricketts. And now Premier Division Championship on the line here for both of these teams. It may not have gone exactly how they envisioned through group play, but a nice bounce-back response throughout this playoff bracket for each of them. Now a chance to leave here with the title.
Yeah, the word is resilience. To be able to take some disappointment and then regroup and then find your way through the knockouts. It's been really impressive, and Palmeiras, for me, have been one of the standouts in the knockouts as far as their ability to navigate through a difficult group. They found their form as it's gone on. You can see there the goals against San Jose and Charlotte, now found their way all the way for Nashville on the other side. We've seen a little bit, once again, of the international component against the MLS sides. That's been a rivalry all tournament. The MLS teams have done the better, you'd have to say, so far in the bracket, but a big chance for Palmeiras to turn that narrative around.
They've been the most dominant team in this Premier Division. So we take a look at the starting 11 here for Palmeiras.
Yeah, Palmeiras with the 4-3-3, and Montero on the right, Gando up top, formidable front two there, alongside De Silva on the left flank, and it's really about the transition moments, how good they are. They have the athleticism, they have the pedigree, so Nashville have to be careful, especially watching that front three.
Nashville comes in having to grind their way a little bit more throughout this tournament. More on that in a moment, but a formidable front three by Byron, Swansea, and Salou up front.
Yeah, I like that group, but even on the left flank, Alonso, the former Inter Miami man, has now made his way through this Nashville system, and they've done a really good job as far as talent identifying. Spoke to Chance Myers, the technical director, and Luke Sassano, their head scout, throughout the week. They really like this group, and the fact that they're here now, back in the final, even though, yes, in group play wasn't quite there for them, they've really found their way throughout this tournament, and expect them to give a good account of themselves. Look for these first 5-10 minutes. It's hot right now to see who gets off to the better start in this game.
Palmeiras things off in the white kits out of Brazil. Nashville going from right to left. This Tennessee side coming in off a 1-0 win against New England. It was Sam Byron who scored in the 18th minute. That was all that Nashville needed. Now here on a steamy afternoon in Bradenton, the final appearance for both these sides, their 2025 Cup run. Whistle blows were underway. Palmeiras, mentioned they've been dominant in this knockout stage here in the Premier bracket, outscoring their opponents 8-0 in the last 3 games. It's been quite the turnaround from group play, where they weren't able to just quite put everything together. This play down the right side. Early attacking moments here and along the touchline, not wasting any time, getting into an aggressive mentality. They earn a corner kick.
Yeah, but that's a preview of what's to come and a statement of intent from Palmeiras. You look in the first 20 seconds, and it's the pace in behind. Down this right flank, Pedro streaking forward, that ball across, and an important tackle there from Sawyer. It's going to have to be huge in this game.
Joao Gabriel, the right back, was streaking down the flank. Good service in. Necessary clearance now, driven ball, headed first by Palmeiras. We'll play it back to Kawan Lima, who's starting in goal today. We've seen Lima and Luis Sa share goalkeeping duties for Palmeiras this week. Sa, backup goalie for the U20s. He's played with the U17 national team. He gets the opportunity today. It's Nathan Peeler on the other side in net for Nashville. Foul in the middle of the field going against Palmeiras here. As Salou is in need of some attention from the athletic training staff.
Get some direct play early in this match with both teams playing balls forward, and second balls then become the point of contact, and it's a little reckless for me there. From Goto just coming across, he's got a clear picture of things and puts his body in harm's way, but also is the worst Nashville midfielder. To be careful in these early moments.
Of course, once this game wraps up, we move on to the U18 championship. This is shaping up to be a classic, perhaps. Orlando City and Colorado Rapids, 5 p.m. start here. IMG Academy, of course. Colorado have yet to give up a goal this entire tournament. Orlando put up 3 of them yesterday. Contrasting styles, storyline very apparent there. Very much looking forward to that. Orlando City fans getting more and more cognizance of what Justin Ellis is bringing to the table in that organization.
Yeah, I feel like he's having a breakout, maybe for those that haven't been in the know or haven't been paying attention, but he just seems to be getting better, and sometimes things can click for players with all the eyes on them this tournament. The international component we're seeing tonight, seeing Brazilian side playing against an MLS side, and I've seen that throughout the tournament. Liga MX teams, though, have been disappointing for me. I saw Santos Laguna, Orlando made light work of them, and
yeah,
it's been sort of a curious case where I was expecting more out of the Liga MX sides, and hasn't been there. It's just outside the box.
Just outside, yep. Saw him point to that spot just outside the 18. Dancing with danger, though.
Yeah, but it's good combination play on this right-hand side for Nashville. Leave getting in that little pocket, playing it wide, and with the wind here, keep an eye on possibility to go direct. Anything that drops down in front, maybe search for the back post and send runners across it.
So Lou take this. Enriquez around the ball too. Everyone taking a moment to get things set here. First free kick in this sort of area for Nashville. A couple different ways to play this. Got it all wrong at the end, well too high to really threaten Kawan Lima.
Yeah, and the runner's just a little bit off there. Had Salou and Alonso on top of it, and just want to have those a little more connected as far as that timing to see if you can throw some misdirection in it.
Palmeiras pushing forward now. Antonio Marcos has been a goal scorer throughout this tournament. On the ground towards Joao Gabriel. Here's Godo. Throw here for Palmeiras.
Looks like they're going to go long here. Second ball is usually the place where it can be most dangerous.
Trickling towards the touchline, and Peeler diving to make sure that there wouldn't be another potential corner kick here for Palmeiras.
Fun component for me is you see the U16s from Nashville. Never work here from Peeler, showing his composure playing out of the back, but just the camaraderie throughout the week amongst these groups, and tough clash there. 2 Nashville players, but love to see the various academy teams supporting each other down to the last day here in the Premier Final. U18s with the 16s right on the edge. Every tackle, every intervention, giving some energy. Love to see it.
And when it gets to the final few minutes, they're walking over to the side of the pitch, ready for that gate to be open for them to storm.
Oh yeah,
storm the field.
You want to get in the Instagram shot.
Yes.
You got to get that photo moment. But even down to the penalties yesterday, I was watching Colorado Rapids. The U16 team almost became a supporter group playing against Atlanta United.
That was a wild and wacky shootout. I almost wondered, could Atlanta possibly pull this off again? 2 shootout victories once the championship bracket began. That would have been quite something to make the tournament final without scoring 1 goal in the run of play. They came pretty close to doing it.
Yeah, and it went after 5. They had to switch sides because of the penalty spot was so beaten up.
Yeah.
Luis Robles, the technical director for MLS Next, had to come out and make the decision. I was like, he's a goalkeeper. He's going to, of course, say it's fine. There's a little bit of damage at the spot, but did the right thing, waited till both teams had taken their 5, and then switched to the other end.
I think both coaching staffs completely understood the logic there, although Colorado wanted Atlanta to at least take the second penalty of that round before they decided to switch the field.
Yeah.
Very unique and disconcerting situation. Here's a run towards the touchline, flipped across, but it did go out of play first.
Yeah, but you can see early on, Palmeiras using those wide areas. That's where they've been at their best throughout this tournament. That's where their pace is. Get isolated in those one-on-one areas and driving to the end line just a little bit out of reach in the end.
It's been a different vibe since the playoffs began for Nashville, at least in comparison to this Brazilian side. 1-0, a shootout win, and 1-0 wins over Cincinnati, Sporting KC in New England. But they're still feeling a lot better about themselves than they were after the first 2 games of group play. And they went 0-2 to start things off. Here's a look at the shootout. Jonathan Ransom had already been the hero twice for Atlanta, and it looks like he was going to be the hero again, but this was the critical moment. His foot stepped off the line there. They had him do it again. Not able to stay in front another time. Who knows how that shootout goes if his heel was still on the line, just inches away, and then you saw the divot there.
It's so difficult for goalkeepers with the run-ups of players, and it's...
Wow, off the crossbar, what a rocket! And an early goal here, Pedro rippling the nets. 1-0 Palmeiras. Wow.
How about this? It's the long throw, and it's generally the second ball where it can be the most dangerous. And Pedro, the left back, showing the class there, just striking through that, absolutely crushes that off the crossbar. And the spin on it drops off the line and in the top of the net. It's just an absolute fantastic strike. Kissing it off the underneath of the crossbar and in.
That's one of the strikes of this tournament.
And we've seen some amazing goals so far in GA Cup, and on the last day, some of the best.
It was first class. Here's Antonio Marcos now earning another corner for Palmeiras. Nathan Peeler kind of looked around after that, a little stunned.
Yeah. To be able to take that out of the air, it's so hard to get the power that's necessitated, but also the control to not sky that over. It's a really controlled strike, just absolutely lashes through that one and went in the back of the net in an instant.
Second quarter here for Palmeiras. Lofted. Still being headed around. Romildo. And he'll be whistled for a foul.
Yeah, but it also speaks to the learning moments for me in this tournament that we've seen throughout. Is just a left back from a team from Brazil looks different than you might see every week in MLS Next. And that's no disrespect to any teams here. We've seen some great left backs. I think of Eddie Chadwick, scored a wonderful goal with his right foot from distance off a set piece, but it's still just a different player profile. And I think that's part of the assignment here, is understanding, okay, yes, we have to worry about the 9, the winger. Of course, those are the positions you always have to keep an eye out for, but then a left back steps up and does that. And you say, okay, well, I think we need to reevaluate our game plan. And that's the moment of the element of surprise, and I think also just the sort of diversity of this tournament where you're going to get surprised, and just the depth of talent. What a finish.
There are a number of players in this Palmeiras starting 11 that look like they are physically ready for the next level here. Pedro, certainly one of those that fit that profile. And even though partner of this Brazilian side only have one shot through 12 plus minutes, it certainly feels as if they're in the front foot here in this match.
Yeah, I think they've really found their footing as the tournament has gone on, and that's the cruel part of these types of knockout tournaments is the group stage. First game, you're feeling yourself out. You don't know the competition. You're from Brazil. You're mostly MLS teams, some teams from all over the continent and even in Europe. So I think it makes sense to me that it would take them a little bit of time to find their best form and figure out the best way to approach this. And as the tournament has gone on, they have just gotten better and already off to a great start here in the U18 Premier Final. What a finish.
It's kind of surprising to look back at their results in that group stage and see that they only put together 2 goals. Lost 2-1 to Toronto, didn't score against Portland, defeated Houston 1-0. That was it. Completely different team since the group stage.
Yeah, I could start to see some of those things rounding into form, though. I was calling that Houston match where just seemed to grow into the game. They got the goal in the second half. It was a moment in transition. They showed their ability to go from one side to the next. Antonio Marcos ended up getting that game winner, and defensively they were able to shut it down from there.
Yeah, we had that game. There were a number of opportunities they had over the course to really move that game a little further wide. Weren't able to do so, but you could see the quality starting to come together. Santos Laguna wound up being the team to go furthest in the bracket on MLS sides in the semifinals, but Orlando City quickly dispatching them yesterday.
Goal in the first 20 seconds, and
I'm thrilled to see what might happen. They scored within 2 minutes 2 days ago, then yesterday within 30 seconds. The standard is high now. There's an expectation.
Well, this Orlando City team also has brought their top players and prioritized this tournament, and so been actually staying down the hall from them in the hotel, and they're ready for it.
Palmeiras pushing again, nearly. Well, they got any touch to that on the header would have been destined towards goal. It led Marcos just a little bit out in front. It still will be a throw. This is a similar situation where they just scored. Continuing to probe.
Yeah, but once again, down that left side is where they found some joy. Keep an eye here, guarding that second ball, and Nashville also adjusting, as we mentioned, putting an extra player on that back post in case it drops to Pedro again.
How can Nashville find a little bit more of a rhythm here? They haven't had much in the, let alone the attacking third, but on Palmeiras' side of the pitch.
Well, I think both teams like to play a little bit more of a direct style, but Palmeiras have the athletes right now and a little bit of that edge where those one-on-one duels are falling to them. So Nashville have to vary it up a little bit and pick their moments where they can get a spell of possession, keep some pressure is a good way, just even draw a foul to take a breath, build your way into the game. But it's smart by Palmeiras to pick that moment, not allow Nashville to get out in transition.
Ari Salou was brought down. Consternation from the Nashville staff. Every time that they feel they have an advantage building out of the back, fouls committed. They want to see a yellow here. Nashville led by Alex Herrera, Arlington, Virginia native. Spent time as the boys academy director at Virginia Development Academy. Playing career also has some U.S. U15, U17 national team experience before he went on to spend 4 years at George Mason. On the other side, Lucas Macore, first team experience as a head coach, spent 5 years at Sao Paulo. Last year coached the U15s with Palmeiras, won the championship, and now he's bumped up to the U18s, also an assistant coach on the U20s.
Yeah, and make no mistake, I feel like a lot of the managers here are also looking to make a name for themselves. Been a part of these programs for a long time, have the experience, and it's that next step of coaching development that has me excited, where these players are getting managed by some top players themselves in the past. And I always liked playing for managers that had ambition themselves, because it kind of opened the door to say, hey, look, I'm trying to make the best of this, and so are you. We're on the same mission, but we don't need to pretend that you're not also trying to get something out of this. And all the attention around these games and media, scouts, all those connections are happening, and I think it's a good tournament for player development as well as coaching development.
Foul on Jones there. Yeah, all throughout the week, going through coaching backgrounds, we see former player in Europe, former player in Brazil, former player in Mexico, former MLS contributor. And you see that at the MLS Next Pro level, too. I mean, you go to Vancouver Whitecaps, too, right? Ricardo Clark, former U.S. national team member. This is dinked forward. Maruki battling for it. Play back to Gabriel. Some space here to potentially cross it in. Laid back to Godo. Possession here. Combination play is broken up. Supporting Kansas City, Benny Feilhaber, right? Next pro level. Now committed by Palmeiras. And this will be the caution that this Nashville staff was looking for. First yellow card of the game. That'll go to Antonio Marcos. So yeah, whether it's MLS Next or Next Pro, this is a pathway for coaching journeys to get their start as well.
I like the names you're picking out of the hat there. Rico Clark, my old teammate with Houston.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Some time with Dynamo. He was a big part of things there.
The,
after he was in Germany for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
20th anniversary of Houston Dynamo coming up this year. But yeah, Rico, an absolute legend.
Central. Patient.
Nashville still searching for their first shot on goal.
Shake. See the runner. Braxton, that's it. That's you. That's the shape. Ashton, you see that, right? Back keeper. Back line, Sam. Back line. Underneath the support. Hey!
There's a hold. Ticcinelli trying to stop the run of play. It's a little bit better from Nashville here.
Swansea has done a good job in hold-up play, and it's been difficult because he's got some big boys, Ticcinelli and De Silva, on either side of him. And thankless job sometimes, but you have to put your body in the way, and that boot comes high, perhaps lucky to escape a yellow card, and Nashville get to move up here. And with the wind, just want to dink this one up and down. Don't want to get too much on top of it because you want it to land just around that penalty spot with runners crouching in. Haven't created a lot through the run of play, so I have to use these set piece opportunities, which are so important in tournament play.
Play to the far side. Palmeiras pushing for it now. Numbers sprayed across, slipped underneath, and just got a touch to it, did Peeler. Be a third corner kick here for Palmeiras.
Yeah, you can see how quickly Palmeiras go from one end to the next, and it's really clever there from Antonio Marcos. Goes with a little toe poke to see if he can sneak it underneath. Peeler is able to get a hand to it.
Dealt with well, just outside of the 6. Played wide. Palmeiras consistent pressure here this first half. Angling towards goal, just outside the 6. Laid off, saved instinctively.
But Nashville having to do some desperate defending in these first 20 minutes, and it's generally been from the wide areas. They've been able to create numerical advantages. Once you get to the end line, it's the cutback ball that's on, and it's time to collect that. Have to sort out this defending. It's just been desperate here. Ultimately, Sawyer's had to kneel down to clear that one off the goal line there, but Nashville have just been underneath it.
Palmeiras continued to knock at the door. Looking for a similar kind of game they had against DC United just a few days ago. They jumped all over the Washington side. They had 2 goals by the time they were 20 minutes in. At 3-0 at the half there. Really set the tone for their playoff run. Remember today, 35-minute halves, adding the extra 5 minutes. On this championship Sunday. Right now, it's been the consistent quality, particularly up front, De Silva, Haruki, Antonio Marcos. Hunting for goals right now. Gabriel's done well playing up at that right back spot. Now Marcos operating on the left flank. Scanning. Playing with some good flair right now. That's over the crossbar.
The patterns are simple for Palmeiras, which is to search for that ball in behind. And I like the center backs for Nashville, excuse me. Rika, Sawyer, big boys. But you always want to try to turn them, make them face their own net.
Not a good clearance. Shot immediately taken after the giveaway. Nashville fortunate in that moment. Rookie's balance carrying him away from goal. Romildo, unable to really square that one up.
Yeah, but nervy moments from Nashville building out of the back, and they've had to go direct instead, and that's been predictable. Palmeiras have been pretty comfortable with that.
Bryant frustrated after that last sequence. All going out of play. Another Palmeiras throw. Had to work really hard here in the first 25 minutes defensively. Long switch. To Silva. Out of play.
Healer, you start with it.
Directed to build out of the back here. Play long. Byron, Swansea, Salou up front for Nashville. Haven't had much time on ball today. Been on their own half of the field more often than not.
Yeah, but it's mostly been just competing in the air, and it's such a difficult ask based on the profile of these players and they're playing against more than anything. And been in those spots a few times in my career. It's really difficult. You want to just hope that the midfield can get a little bit more control from Nashville, so you can check the feet, start to look at behind, and vary a little bit of the gameplay to keep Palmeiras guessing, because right now they're able to just be on the front foot. Any long ball, they have the time to gauge it and to get underneath it, and just hasn't been varied enough for Nashville so far in this first half.
It's a little disconcerting defensively when you're realizing a team's able to play this direct and effectively against you.
I almost got up to get that ball, and I was like, wait a minute, I can't leave the headset.
Partner, during intros, we nearly get our heads taken off by a ball coming over from the other field. I was quite impressed how you just kept going there on the open. Almost took out my MacBook.
It's been great just to be close to the managers. You get a little bit of a sense of what tactical changes they want to make as the match goes, the mood of the group, maybe some complaints to the referee even.
There are some of those.
Yeah, you get a good window into all of it.
Salou is taken down again, fouled a couple times, and there's a second yellow of the match. I think that's Romildo. Yeah.
Aaron, see if you can make it the next couple minutes.
Let's take a look at the challenge.
Yeah, it just comes through the back of him.
De Silva, beg your pardon. Serves as an informal hydration break here. I'd be interested to see the conversation at the half for Nashville, what tactical adjustments they might be able to make. Hard to really significantly change the tune of a game that feels like this. Losing all the 50-50 balls. Team's playing very direct. Physically, perhaps has an advantage too.
Yeah, it's been difficult for Nashville, and I think just defensively sorting out those wide areas, that's where Palmeiras have been able to be at their best so far. Yes, they get the goal off the long throw and the knockdown. You put that behind you, that's fine, but it's really been more through the run of play that they've been able to get in behind, down those flanks that have opened up that Nashville back line. And so if you don't have pressure on the ball, you have to drop a little bit. They've been high. It's a dangerous formula with the pace that Palmeiras have to be able to stretch you. And I just think when they win it, can they get it forward a little quicker? Palmeiras have committed numbers at a few moments. Keep the ball at your feet. As Palmeiras push, can you then take advantage and see if you can make some noise in transition?
We talked about how this is truly one of the most iconic clubs in Brazil. Talk about this Palmeiras brand, founded back in 1914 by Italian immigrants in Sao Paulo. Originally called Palestra Italia, they changed their name during World War II. They've since become a powerhouse in Brazilian football. Copa Libertadores championships 2020, 2021. As early substitute here. It's the end of the half. It's going to be Liam Devon coming in for Sawyer.
Yeah, and Sawyer's been strong throughout this tournament. He's a player that has been identified within the system as someone they really like. They want to move forward, and he's gotten his opportunities, I believe, on the bench so far with his next pro. Just the next step in this player development pathway from Nashville. Huntsville sees the squad, and see the profile of him. It's a lot like some Nashville center backs, big. Think of Walker Zimmerman, Jack Mayer.
Yep, Walker.
Good aerial presence. We saw just a good sense of him. Defensive moments in and around the box defending alert. He's had to be just to keep this one goal deficit.
Reflect more on this Palmeiras side. It's trying to find another goal before 35 minutes. Not just a great of Brazilian football, become a model of modern club management. Operating out of the state-of-the-art Alliance Paquet, competing regularly at the top of domestic and international competitions. And you talk about their youth system and who they developed. Gabriel Jesus, Hendrick come to mind. Might advance to the first team. It's on the pitch today. Certainly would think Antonio Marcos be competing for that. Pedro looks the part.
I like the pieces. Antonio Marcos has looked good. Just his ability to drive at defenders, to get to that back post. We've seen a few of those moments where he's able to get in behind. Nice goal against Houston. Today we saw the little toe poke, pretty clever. It's a classic Brazilian move. You don't see it much. Just speaks to the way these guys grew up playing down there, and a little bit of futsal. Played in the streets and gymnasiums, and that technical ability. I went down to Brazil when I was 16 and trained at the Zico Football Academy, not in Sao Paulo, or it's in Rio actually, but the style is similar. Played beach soccer. That was a part of the programming.
Copa wait, was that's not Sao Paulo? Yeah,
Rio. In Rio, yeah. Yep, absolutely. And but yeah, just the quality of players that they have at their disposal, and I mentioned some of these names that have come through there. It's incredible.
Nashville looking for their first real chance. That went straight into the arms of Lima. Didn't have to work too hard. I think everyone who loves the sport of soccer has been a part of it from a young age, has those kind of ambitions. More about that in a second. Played to Godo. One-on-one, back heels, beautifully set up. What a goal. What a goal. Antonio Marcos finishes. But how about the distribution? 2-0 Palmeiras.
It just shows how quickly Santos can get out in transition. It's a great turn to begin with. From Antonio Marcos, plays it off, and then how about this little back heel? He checks his run back. That's so smart there. Palmeiras just going from one end to the next, and this little back heel, classic Brazilian, and it absolutely strikes through that with Antonio Marcos. A lovely finish, and Palmeiras up 2-0 over Nashville.
De Silva was so smooth with that. Knew exactly where Marcos was going to be as he cut to the left. That is the flair, the skill, the talents of this Sao Paulo side.
And you generally see Brazilian teams maybe with the ball, shorter passes, but this Palmeiras team's profile is very different. They go quickly, but still have that Brazilian flair, the back heel, but this time at full speed, and it was such a good checked run from Antonio Marcos to understand, yeah, we're going forward, but the space is just behind him, and presence of mind to give that little clever back heel, and Antonio Marcos absolutely rifles that one with the finish.
It's 2 goals where this Palmeiras side just absolutely has unleashed something towards Nathan Peeler. Make it very difficult for any keeper to stay in front of. So they've secured the second just moments before the end of the half. Perhaps not done here. Haruki, he glaze it off. Nearly a third. Ultimately well wide though. Just wasn't struck cleanly.
Yeah, but in the channels, they've just been devastating. Getting in behind Nashville, just last-ditch defending, diving in, and Palmeiras able to get that touch consistently, looking for those little cutback balls then are on, and it's been a really difficult first half for Nashville.
Palmeiras has now outscored their opponents 10-0 since the Premier bracket began. Again, another ball high in the air, headed lightly this time. Easy pickings for Peeler. Is there a way back here in the second half for Nashville?
Absolutely. I think 2-0 is, we've seen that erased throughout this tournament, especially in some dramatic fashion. Leaving it till late is just a matter of how much is in the tank at this point, and that's the bigger question. Got some good options on the bench. They've rotated the squad, and expect to see some changes at halftime.
This is Marcos again, loading up, firing. Wide of the post.
That said, halftime might feel far away at this point with these last few minutes, and
couldn't come soon enough.
It's been a barrage of chances for Palmeiras. They've continued to pour on and try to kill this game. You can see now just Nashville have struggled building out, so they're just going to push forward and say, hey, let's make this a battle for real estate. The last few minutes of the half hasn't gone our way. Let's get to halftime. Let's play it safe and regroup at halftime. Come out, see what we can make of this game.
on Palmeiras there. Nashville SC, the first team, navigating 2025 under their new head coach, BJ Callahan. Took over in July last year. 2024 was challenging. 13th in the East, missed the playoffs for the first time since they joined the league. With Callahan, of course, former national team assistant, possession-oriented approach. They went out and got MLS Cup MVP Gaston Brugman. He's getting to full strength after his thigh injury. So 6th in the East right now. 4 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw. They did get smacked in Seattle yesterday.
Yeah, ups and downs is the way I would describe it. But the highs have looked really good. I sort of expect that from, basically the first year the managers had with Callahan, bringing in totally remade midfield, and really like the game model that he's trying to implement, being more positive in possession play. And yeah, but a difficult one on the road last week.
Taken towards the near post, couldn't connect with any teammate. Yeah, Seattle had 3 goals in a 15-minute span. Sometimes at Lumen Field, when it rains and pours, can cascade on you quickly. That's the 3rd loss in 4 games for Nashville. Still above the playoff line at the moment, but right here, gonna have to figure some things out. Palmeiras, a dominating first 35 minutes. Pedro in the 10th, and Antonio Marcos in the 34th. 2-0 after 1 half of play in the Premier Division final, the Generation Adidas Cup.
A champion was crowned in the U18 final at the 2025 Generation Adidas Cup, and it's a decisive win for Real Salt Lake, their 2nd ever GA Cup championship. Michael Wattrain, Kalen Carr wrapping things up. It's the hold-up play from Van Parker that's been so valuable, and Hashimoto shows the creativity.
Yeah, and when the 9 drops, that's going to create runs in behind, and the deep-lying run here from Hashimoto is just perfectly timed. It's a well-weighted ball through, and then to pick his head up in this moment, to express himself as he said. I mean, what a time to do it. It's an audacious finish, but so clever. And Salt Lake take the lead here. You can see the confidence coursing through them at this point, and Martinez just slides it in top, and just excellent little turn here to feel the space, to sense where you are in the box from that 9 position. Parker has a great sense of where the ball is. He's pointing to the side. It comes to the right foot, but then he just sort of is able to just feel where the space is, that soft spot. It's too easy from a Galaxy perspective, but credit to Van Parker for the goal and the celebration.
2 goals in 2 minutes, and after 12 minutes, it was 2-0. And then in the second half, Hashimoto, seemingly out of nothing here, blasts one from distance.
Yeah, but it's clever, patient build-up play, and it creates spaces. And in that little half space is where Hashimoto has been a problem all tournament, and generally it's been from going one-on-one in these positions. But this time, he says, I'm just going to have a go of it from distance. It's got this little inside-out swerve that gives no chance for Nelson. Just a perfect finish, and this was just a direct ball, and a little bit of where the Galaxy were at maybe mentally at this point in the match, and how RSL continued to push on the front foot. It was just relentless from them, and Van Parker should never be able to bring down the ball from a goal kick and put it in the back of your net. So that's a frustrating one, but full marks to him for continuing to push forward. How about this for the finish?
Parker Walker bags a brace, and RSL have some hardware headed back to Utah. 4-0 winners of the U16s.
Well, the first spot in the U18 championship has been claimed at the Generation Adidas Cup. Colorado Rapids ending Atlanta United's magical penalty kick run. They take it in 7 rounds in the shootout. A lot of drama before we got there. AJ Ricketts, Katie Goodman. 5 of Colorado's first 6 shots came in the first half. They were aggressive in the early going, but never put a shot on goal.
Super aggressive, intentional in the attack. As you can see there, another great placement in. Close call, time after time for Colorado, just not able to put it away. And then one of the better opportunities from Atlanta, this beautiful turn from Vincetti. It hits the post. Stark saved by the post there, but really and truly the best opportunity of the entire game there was off the foot of Vincetti.
And nearly finally unlocked this Colorado defense, who has still yet to give up a goal. Atlanta had some probing moments in the final 10 minutes, but could not find the net. The penalties we go. Simpson started with a miss. Atlanta had a chance to gain some early momentum. Vicente, who nearly had the goal in the run of play after the Simpson miss, denied by Starks on the other side. There were a lot of back and forths here in this shootout.
So many back and forths. Gotta hand it to the keepers for everything that they have been through and all the work that they've done to deny these opportunities. But unfortunately there for Jonathan Ransom, they made him do it again. He came off the line too soon, and then Colorado able to put it away on that redemption shot.
Second time's the charm there, so still the drama continues. Braden Dunham stepped to the spot. Crossbar says no. A couple of misses here throughout the first 5 rounds, so then a chance for Ransom and company to make a big save yet again, and that's exactly what he does. Diving to his right, he's made 4 saves through 3 rounds of the knockouts, but then the pitch starts to become a problem there. Look at this divot. Caused some consternation from the Colorado coaching staff. They wanted to switch sides, so they said, no, we need to at least take one more kick here from this spot before we go to the other end. That's exactly what they did.
Able
and
to
that did finish on the opposite side.
Yeah, able to convert there. It's not often you see the PK spot looking like a pitching green, but take it to the other side. Colorado's able to put it away, but it's the game winner here. And it's a save from Kendall Starks, denying it with his foot. Absolute acrobatics. And a dog pile to follow.
High drama. Colorado Rapids advances off the kick save. They take down Atlanta 5-4 in penalties. On to the U18 final. The semifinals are complete. Spots in the championship game have been clinched. Orlando City moving on to the final. 3-0 in a dominating performance over Santos Laguna. AJ Ricketts, Katie Goodman took less than 30 seconds today to find their first goal after it was less than 90 seconds yesterday, and Justin Ellis doing what he does.
I mean, Santos Laguna doing their best to close that down, but Ellis doing what he does best, continuing that run, puts it away. And again, it's just why you can't give him any space. You've got to track Justin Ellis because he's creative, he keeps going, he's relentless.
Orlando City supporters really excited to see what he may become in the next couple of years. They have their eye on him, and he continues to produce, continues to celebrate. If this one had gone in, things may have played out a little bit differently.
It would have been a game-changing goal, no doubt. It would have been the energy that Santos Laguna needed, but instead it was near miss after near miss, near pass after near missed pass. Unfortunate for them.
Orlando saw some of the same there off the crossbar. Just moments later, the game opened up a little bit in the first half. Eventually had 11 combined shots between the two teams. Penalties played their role in this game.
That they did, and allowed Orlando's momentum to keep going. Caravaggio just hitting the post in behind the keep guessed the right direction. He was within the vicinity, but you're not going to beat that pace. And then once again, another foul in the box. Made Santos Laguna pay. Is our Golden Boot winner, Justin Ellis, our Golden Boot leader.
Number 9 on Orlando has 6 goals in the tournament. The U18s and their U16 counterparts celebrate. Supporters of the purple and gold real proud right now. They're on to the final.
active. I'm hanging on like a fridge to a magnet. It's a jigsaw with all the right pieces. You and me, we go good together. You and I go good together. You and I, we go good together. We go good together.
You ready? MLS is game on. Don't you? On. Stars on.
Kevin Sullivan, the history maker.
30,000 friends on. Rivalries on.
Versus New York City.
MLS. This is our soccer. Game on.
Moments away from starting the second half. Palmeiras has controlled this entire game. AJ Ricketts, Kalen Carr unleashing early was Pedro in the ninth.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic technique here on the finish, and it's often on a long throw, the second phase that can be the most dangerous, and it drops down to the far post and the left back. How about that for technique to just strike through that? Absolutely crushes that off the bottom of the crossbar and in.
Things were off and rolling there at that point. Now in transition. This is Brazilian football at its finest.
Yeah, but look at the run. He stops his run. So intelligent. And then the little back heel with eyes in the back of your head to lay that one back off there from Da Silva. Just see the run. It's a great turn here from Antonio Marcos to go one way, and then watch the adjustment of his run. He'll jump back in the frame. That's so smart there. And just strikes straight through it. No chance for Peeler to give Palmeiras the 2-0 lead going into the half here.
Yeah, Nashville have their work cut out for them. No doubt for it. The form we saw in those first 35 minutes. Palmeiras readying a couple of substitutes here, as well as Nashville. We've got Derek Da Silva and Murilo Dorado as well. Dorado was talking with this Palmeiras coaching staff. They feel he's probably one of the best prospects on this team. It's the highest potential they have. They didn't start him today. They want to be fresh for next week with the U20s. We're going to get a glimpse at him here, number 9, in the middle of your screen there.
It's a balance because, yes, it's the final, but you have to keep the bigger picture in mind. We saw even the substitution of Sawyer in the first half. I think want to be smart with these players, bring a balance, but yeah, bringing some quality on at halftime. You saw us missing a little bit of that in the first half, and have to rotate, use the entire roster, but hoping for a better second half here from Nashville. I almost throw the first one out the window and say, hey, it's 0-0. Let's approach it that way. Let's win the second half. We can find the first, we take the lead, then we find our way to see if we can get the second. Maybe push it to pens. I would like to see a little drama on the last day here. Why not? Let's enjoy this.
Well, they might have to do it on the opposite side of the field. The amount of shootouts we've had.
It's true.
Although, shout out to the ground crew. They got that thing looking like it's just fine today.
Yeah, they have been working nonstop. This pitch has seen a number of...
I wouldn't know that there was a whole scene yesterday.
That's fresh
about
paint.
this.
Let's put it that way.
The scene of the crime has been cleaned up. Would have had no clue.
I think they did that at halftime.
Anthony Rogalski has come on for Nashville also. 2 caps for Poland U17 national team. All right, what do Nashville have left in the tank here? Nothing to lose. Premier League final, down 2 goals. Palmeiras dominating that first half, outshot Nashville 6-2. Let's see if there's anything in store for the boys from Broadway. Maybe not Broadway yet.
Have you been to Nashville before?
Spent some quality time there last summer in the MLS Next Cup.
Ah, yes.
Beautiful facility there.
Must have missed the invite for that. Thanks, AJ.
Wow. Just got guilt-tripped. One of the top fan bases in MLS. Certainly got to experience a little bit of that last year on that trip. Geodis Park. Palmeiras. Really trying to put this thing away. Rookie continues to operate in the middle. De Silva on the left side. And then they've got Dorado at center forward. Excuse me now, Haruki switching over to the right. Nashville did not have a shot on goal in that first half.
Forward, forward, forward. Next line, miss the line.
This is some solid dribbling up the field. Clear foul. Easy yellow card.
Yeah, but that's really good work there from Hayes. And we just haven't quite seen enough of that. I really like the way Nashville have approached these first few minutes, at least getting these midfielders more involved, bringing Palmeiras up the pitch to try to press them, and then Hayes shows the quality of the composure just to take his time with it, takes a step forward. It's a positive first touch, and then drives forward, ends up getting pulled down from behind there. And you see more of that in the second half here from Nashville.
Marley Ford is also in now for Nashville. Operating at right back.
How long are we going to take the ball to whistle then? Rash, rotate. Rash, deeper. Hey there, hey there, hey there. Hey, there you go. There you go. Marley, where's the space? There you go. Yes, yes.
Some well-placed fouls have stifled an attacking opportunity or two for Nashville. This is better here. Their best build-up. Played across, snuffed out in the end. Back to Haruki. Was quickly pressured by Devon.
This is better from Nashville. Just pushing forward, releasing from one line to the next. You have to be aggressive. I really like that. You just have to be careful. Let me see. Looks like one of the Palmeiras players down will get tended to. Make sure he's all right here.
I think that's Gabriel. They're right back. As a reminder, following the conclusion of this game, scheduled for 5 p.m. Eastern, start Orlando City, Colorado Rapids. Rapids have been methodical in their progression throughout the bracket. Orlando City, explosive against Santos Laguna after a pair of 1-0 wins against St. Louis and Real Salt Lake. Their quality is shined off throughout the tournament. Already 2 championships have been decided. Girls Academy red. That was a thriller this morning against Girls Academy blue. A late strike from about 30 yards out, clinching the title in this first ever year the girls division has been introduced at the GA Cup. And then Real Salt Lake, you want to talk about dominance, 4-0 over LA Galaxy in that U16 final.
Yeah, what a game that was. You don't always see the best come out in a final. It tends to be a gritty affair and a tight contest, which I was expecting with the way that Real Salt Lake defend. Have not conceded a goal through the run of play throughout the whole tournament. That includes today, by the way, in the final, obviously. But boy, did they find their best moment on the offense as well, with Rylan Hashimoto scoring 2 tremendous goals and Van Parker as well adding 2 himself. So well deserved for them. Salt Lake champions of the U16 side, and we'll have to wait and see who wins it between Orlando City and Colorado on the 18s, but an all MLS final for the boys side of the bracket, and shows how good MLS is becoming.
Saboya was dispossessed as he was continuing his run. Yeah, wasn't that a Galaxy side on the U16s that scored like 5 goals in the semis, I believe?
Yeah, they've just been so good. It was actually 5 goals against the same RSL team just about a month ago, and I don't think Salt Lake forgot that.
No,
I think they were trying.
As if they
were searching for that fifth too. It was 4-0, and they kept pushing, and it was that's where the rivalries come through from the MLS Next regular season and carried over into GA Cup for sure.
Yeah, Hashimoto made a name for himself early on in the tournament. He's a player of the day. And just continued that momentum.
Yeah, came from Sacramento Republic and left his family in Northern California, moved to Salt Lake, spoke to him about the sacrifice that is taken on and paying off here in a big way with getting MVP of the tournament.
The MLS academies have a lot to hang their hat on at this generation Adidas Cup. The last half decade, Austin, Portland, Seattle, Philadelphia, 5 of the last 6. Quality all across the league now with these academies.
Yeah, and that was coming in before the tournament, so with the all MLS final in the 18s and the result early today with both MLS sides in the final, that stat is going to have to be updated to 7 of the last 8. So the international squad's going to have to do their best to try to change the script a little bit in these next coming years, because MLS set the tone as of late.
Is this a moment in transition? Something's got to happen soon here for Nashville. They need a jolt. Sam Byron, 3 white jerseys around him, and that wasn't really that close at all.
That's all right, though. I like the positive first touch, the way that Nashville break pressure. They try to release down this right flank, and Byron, it's fine, go one-on-one. You can hear the manager speaking to him now, just encouraging that ingenuity. You have to push forward to try to find your way back in the game when you get isolated. Always appreciate players taking the initiative.
Sam Byron's first shot of the game. First shot of the second half for Nashville. Byron's represented Puerto Rico at the U17 level. 2 caps and a goal during the CONCACAF U17 championships. Trying to bring that international pedigree to his performance here today. Nearly 10 minutes into the second half. It's been a little bit better for Nashville out of the break, but high quality chances have been difficult to come by. Palmeiras just slowly bleeding this game away.
You're right, though. It has been better from Nashville, just playing more, trusting each other, keeping possession. It's been cleaner in possession for them, and said, hey, try to approach this as a 0-0 match. I think they've had a good first 10 minutes so far of the second half.
Malenko, who just entered, set to take the free kick. He'll run through. Henry delivers. Ball in. Header is well wide of the right post. Nashville's academy, it's young, got started in 2020, but it's already produced 3 homegrown signings. Adam Seepich, midfielder Isaiah Jones, and Chris Applewhite on the defense. Logged a lot of key minutes with Huntsville City and MLS Next Pro. Jones made his MLS debut last summer.
Dealer! Start with it!
Players like Scott Cheevers. He was the first academy player called up to a U.S. youth national team. So just 5 years young. You know this academy continue to build its brand and presence throughout the league and with its Academy alums.
They've got some good young players as well, like Matthew Corcoran. He's come in and done a good job. Wyatt Meyer, draft pick, he's gotten some playing time as well. Done well in that midfield, and I think just the way that Nashville is changing overall as far as their game model is to move away a little bit from being so defensive. Want to be able to dominate against the ball, but also with it. And it takes some time as far as identifying, shifting the player profile that's being brought in here. They've done a good job scouting outside of their network. And
well, that's a good ball across the mouth of goal. Couldn't connect. Full speed in the end. Again, Nashville showing a different profile here. Swansea was where he needed to be.
Yeah, but it starts from getting on the interior spaces and it comes out wide. And I think Bayern's done a really good job just occupying that space, and Palmeiras have to respect that. Move out to the flank, and that ball across to Swansea. It's a difficult one for him to control. Just you don't have to crush that. Just need to make solid, clean contact. It doesn't quite get it right.
This chested down. Haruki will unleash. Sent away. Good save and goal by Peeler.
Surely we can alert him to that.
First shot of the second half for Palmeiras.
Yeah, and it's concerning there as the Nashville player goes down and makes contact. The ground, as he landed, just seemed to be thrown off.
The other guy wins the header in our half.
Not be able to land the way he would have liked to, and then Haruki continues forward. Great strike, good technique, and good save there from Peeler, but have to monitor here with health and safety with anything around the head.
So there's the update now.
These guys are quick.
Just for emphasis.
These guys are quick. In
case you didn't put it together.
Best production team in the business, folks. What was that, like 2 minutes ago? They've already got the stat updated.
Wow.
I'm going to check back in the final. See what happens. Oh, no, that is actually it. That includes the final. We already know that. So 7 of the 8. I'm checking my math. Well done, fellows.
Punched away.
Teach me forever trying to contribute to any sort of statistic.
They switch sides. Now De Silva, who had that back heel for the assist. And got cut off as he was trying to spin and create. And now 2 more subs ready for Palmeiras. Mateus and Kaiki are set to enter 4th and 5th substitutes.
Gabby, start lower! Gabby! Start lower! Where's the second one? Where's the second one? Where's the second one?
Mateus, 17-year-old from Sao Paulo, joined in 2022. Made nearly 30 appearances for the U17s. Prior to this, Haruki will head to the bench after a well-played match. Just about 20 minutes left to go here. High pressing on the Brazilian side, pushing for a third.
Sammy, we gotta go through it.
Oh, for a Nashville goal kick. Nashville have not scored more than 1 goal in this tournament in any of their 6 games thus far. They need to flip that script quickly to force a potential shootout. Peeler has it covered. Good distribution out to the right wing. Taken right back by Godo. Godo to the left side, to Silva now. Lays it off across, Peeler anticipating, and on top of it.
Yeah, those are ones where it's tough when Palmeiras are running at you, but you have to take that first touch positive. Stay stationary, you're just a sitting target. Continue to create some movement, at least to just draw them back on the back foot. And this is a great ball in behind here.
Good diagonal service. Tracking back quickly is Valenka. He'll spray it along the right side. Intervening well is Devon, who just entered. Will be a throw for Nashville. Kind of feels like Palmeiras is the team that's trailing 2-0 right now, the way they're pushing forward. They have entered 5 substitutes into the match already as well. Well, to split a pair of defenders there. He's had a man open. Couldn't quite locate streaking Sam Byron on the near side. Looked like an opportunity missed.
Yeah, did well to break that first line of pressure, but then the window closed quickly with Palmeiras recovering, and that's where you have to get that head up. It's difficult as you're manipulating the ball through traffic to keep that little peek up to see who's available for the pass. Nashville have done a little better here, playing out of pressure, get caught here by Palmeiras, but don't mind that. I like the idea of continuing to try to play through pressure, and that brings Palmeiras up the pitch, which might create some space because otherwise with the direct ball we saw that just wasn't working for Nashville, so I like to see the adjustment here in the second half.
Ball towards the touch line. Dorado. His coaching staff called perhaps their best prospects on the team. High praise with the quality we've seen today. Clipped back to Godo.
Let's go, boys.
Fabiano. It's too far. Kaiki is into the target. Nashville readying 2 more substitutes now.
First action's fantastic, yeah.
Owen Bland, product of Tennessee Soccer Club, will come in. Judah Shallot as well. Shallot with the club by way of Chicago. He played for Lincoln Park High School.
Yes, Ed. Yes, Ed. Yes, Ed. Yes, Ed.
So you asked me if I'd spent some time in Nashville before scolding me. You've spent plenty of time on this Brazilian side of things. How much time in Nashville have you spent? Have you spent more time probably in your life in Brazil
Sure,
than the
I have,
domestic side here?
3 weeks in Brazil, and so far a total of 0 minutes in Nashville, although I would love the assignment. I've been waiting for the call-up for MLS season pass to give me my chance. Just hasn't happened yet, but you got to stay ready, hey? And
yes.
I'm down here in Florida. I'll come wherever I have to go to prove I'm worthy of the opportunity, and you got to start at the grassroots, hey? That's how it goes at GA Cup. Build your way up. You don't just get to go to the first team and get the bright lights of Broadway. What'd you say, the boys from Broadway?
The boys from Broadway.
Yeah, that's one in. This is my audition.
Some are saying this is a pathway.
If you know a guy or a girl, whoever's watching,
get Kalen to Nash.
That's the project.
Make this a trending hashtag.
No, I mean, I think the supporter culture stands out for me there too, where it's just like, you wouldn't think of Nashville necessarily as a soccer market, but so many MLS teams have proven that wrong. And
especially the South, right?
Absolutely.
Good clip in towards the back post. Oh, it was there. The service was there. Oh, everything but the finish. Josh Swansea was oh so close.
Yeah, but this right side has been really good. in the second half. And as Bayern's, once again, that's a beautiful ball in. It's just perfectly weighted. It drops right down where you want it. It's difficult because it bounces right as you're coming onto it. Swansea does the right thing to throw his body at it. Just doesn't quite make the right contact. He's gotten in good spots. I just feel as a striker, you get worried when you're not getting opportunities. Keep getting in the right spots, the goal will come, and Swansea has gotten there consistently. Excellent service in there from Bayern's.
Cacao and Marcos Adriano, latest two substitutes now for this Palmeiras side. Cacao joins Palmeiras from Retro FC in the spring as one of the top young players in Brazil. This is his first major competition. He's playing a formidable side, and immediately Adriano got clipped, limping momentarily.
Yeah, his first touch there, that's a tough introduction. His first touch let him down just a little bit, which is rare to say for this Brazilian side, but just gave a little bite at the apple and ends up getting the worst of it.
Taken away before midfield. Braxton Hayes guides it towards the corner. Salou lost that battle. Yeah, you talked about, hey, maybe not, I don't know if unexpected is the term, but just to see the response to soccer in the city since it became a part of Nashville's sporting identity. I mean, it joins the ranks of the crowds and culture we see at Atlanta United in the region, Charlotte as well. There's always scenes in that lower bowl there pregame.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, and I think the fact that we're sort of opening the aperture a little bit, so to speak, of what we think of as a soccer market, and so much of that energy, especially in youth soccer, has often gone to the coast. Los Angeles, California, here in Florida. Maybe in between, there's been some top players coming from Texas, the Midwest, Chicago, Indiana. I think of those as kind of some of the hotbeds, but for those that follow youth soccer, North Carolina, that has always been a big part of the youth soccer setup, and it makes sense that as you start to spread out a little bit, just how accessible soccer is now, that international component, people moving here from all over the world, that more cities would pop on the map.
De Silva laid it across. Cacao was close to the tap-in. Just minutes into the match.
It's a good little ball in behind, and just turned right around. That's somewhere in between a shot and a cross. If you just kind of dangle it across and just didn't quite get that final run. Good little action there from Palmeiras to turn Nashville around.
Dorado, nearly with the assist. 2-0 here, Palmeiras in the 59th minute. AJ Ricketts, Cal Berkeley Hall of Famer Kalen Carr. Good to have you with us at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Final day of action. It's Championship Sunday. Orlando City and Colorado follow us here. Just making sure everybody knows your Berkeley Hall of Fame credentials make up for the lack of the Nashville invite.
Well, the funny part is,
I didn't even know you yet, man. You can't get on to me.
You've done your research. I appreciate it. I'll take all the credit I can get. The funny part is my college teammate who gave me all of the assists for the goals that I scored is Luke Sassano, who's the head scout for Nashville, and Wyatt Meyer, who I mentioned, who's playing for Nashville now, and he's from Cal Berkeley as well, too. So there's a Berkeley connection in Nashville already. I just need to complete it.
You're making a strong pitch right now.
Well, it took all of the restraint in my soul to not mention Berkeley earlier when I mentioned those guys, but
I got you. I got your back.
If you open the door, I'll take it.
Berkeley guys stand together.
Absolutely.
Now, we'll give you the Nashville invite, perhaps, but it may be more Murfreesboro than Nash. That's fine too. Hour in here. Palmeiras still feeling good about things.
Great ball.
Cacao. Spray it wide. Almost feels as if Nashville was going to do this, they needed one of those Sam Byron crosses to connect.
Yeah, he had some really good balls across there, hoping just one more. Or Swansea, you hope the third might connect.
Dorado turning. Got a little underneath it.
It was really good from Palmeiras, though, just to show a different part of their game. You saw how deadly they are in transition. It's generally been quick, end-to-end stuff, but now with the game in control with the 2-goal lead, showing a different wrinkle, keeping possession, the little touches in and around, making Nashville chase in this heat. And just didn't quite get on top of that with that finish in the end, but really nice few moments there of patient possession from Palmeiras.
Tropiano is entered now for Nashville SC. Tristan Tropiano looking to fire one towards goal. It was blocked in the attempts. De Silva stepped in front, still with Nashville here. Got less than 10 minutes. Pull something out of the hat. It was the ninth shot for Palmeiras today. This is towards the touchline. Cut back, shot rips, instinctive save. Feels for a handball in Nashville. So a few times Lima's really been challenged today. Back towards Peeler. Three shots for Nashville here in the second half. That was their first on goal of the game.
Yeah, it's been better in the second half, but there's just been a few times as of late where they've broken pressure but just haven't recognized it, end up recirculating it, going backwards, and have to build all the way back out against Palmeiras. Once you break that line, you have to go quick.
Kaiki towards Peeler. And operate quickly now. Time is not a commodity they have much of. There's foul. Tropiano was former MLS Next Pro, rising star of the week. Can he provide a jolt? Byron delivering across the 18. It was a poor touch. Erases any chance. Saw some frustration from the Nashville bench there.
It was another really good run in there from Byron. Just brought the right attitude to the game. To be on the front foot, be aggressive, to continue to ask questions. Good balls in, varying the run. Sometimes he's gone outside, sometimes he's come inside, and that's all you can ask as a substitute, is to try to really up the tempo, bring some positivity to the play, and done a really good job so far for me in the second half here for Nashville.
Haven't seen this scene too much today. Nashville corner kick. Can this be a breakthrough here from the Tennessee side? Bouncing ball, flicked high in the air. Headed back away from goal. And Nashville foul. All right, coming up next on the MLS Next calendar in June. MLS Next Cup up in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, as referenced, June 14th through the 22nd. A lot of drama, a lot of fun games up in the Nashville area. Streaming coverage of that, just like we have had all throughout the week here at the Generation Adidas Cup. That's what's next on the broadcast calendar. I'm sure Kalen will find his way there somehow.
I just put in Richard Siegel's Sports Complex into Google Maps, so mark it down.
The Seagull's where it all happens. And there's some are comparing it to the Etihad. Really, they do a great job there, just like IMG Academy has done a fabulous job here all week. Not an easy thing to coordinate all that. Murfreesboro takes a lot of pride in hosting. Over to the far side, Palmeiras got their 2 goals in the first half, not looked back since. That second coming just seconds before the halftime whistle.
Come on, Sam. Come on, Sam.
Rogalski had a nice turn.
Sammy, you can step out. Let the early defense. Come inside the feet. He needs feet. Yes, Judah.
Good touch. These are the plays where just let him play here. These are the plays where Nashville just need to be brave on the ball, and look at this point. The result is secondary. I think it's more just about building some trust and a few good first touches here, and that's fine. If you lose the ball, it's no worries at this point. Just continue to play, be positive, push the ball forward. Time's still a little bit safe. There's no need for that at this point in the game.
In a play over the top, Lima heads it towards his teammate. Foul on Nashville, that'll be a yellow as well here in the final few minutes. Our research team continuing to do fantastic investigative work, and they found out that we're 723 miles away from the Richard Siegel complex. So by our initial estimations, Kayla, that would take you 20 days to walk.
Okay.
Would you take the over or under on that guess?
Well, when does the tournament begin again?
June 14th.
The 14th, okay.
Well, I would assume
that's
could
plenty
make it there
of time.
before the 14th. All
Absolutely.
Right.
Have you seen my pace?
I haven't heard.
You got to go back on YouTube.
Things.
You have to go back on YouTube for that. Maybe
you shut down the running invite that I gave you.
That's true. And they gave me some new Adidas runners as well too.
They did. Are you going to put those to use at all?
No excuse. I put them to use. But just walking around.
I think they're still in the box.
To pick up some coffee in between games.
They're meant to be used for runs.
No, I absolutely would have loved to play in a tournament like this. It would have been a dream for me, and I always wanted to test myself against the best. And we talked about my trip to Brazil, and that was a part of it. I went on my own. It's just like,
yeah, kind of wild. Yeah,
it was a bold move to convince.
What made you feel Brazil was where you needed to go?
I mean, it's kind of the obvious pick if you think about it.
I mean, when we were growing up, that was
said you wanted to play against the best,
yeah.
and you know that's where the best were as far as I was concerned.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know much about it, but the idea that these Nashville SC players are going to get this experience, yes, they end up being in a loss, but to get exposed to this type of competition. Going to play against the best in MLS every week, week in, week out, and this MLS next tournament in their hometown, but to be able to play against international competition is rare, and I think it's going to really bode well for them as they build individually and collectively to go against these types of players, this types of competition.
Oh, look at that. Getting a little flair here towards the ends. We've seen that Brazilian personality shine now. A lot of positives to take here for Nashville, despite the final result. The offense wasn't quite where they wanted it to be the entirety of this thing, but they had a lot of bright moments once the bracket began here. Premier Division. All right. Kalen, how many times were you doing this?
Well, listen, this is exactly what I'm talking about. When you're playing against a Brazilian team late in the game and they have the lead, they're going to try to embarrass you. That's a part of the way they play. It didn't come off there, but that's something I learned the hard way going and played in Brazil. I was by myself. That happened to me. Now Nashville had someone to back that up, but these are the little plays where you don't see that every day from normal MLS competition. It's not going to happen in training, and I just think those little moments, that type of exposure is really important.
Now 3 minutes left for Nashville to do anything offensively. Takes a deflection and just tapped over the bar. Lima, excellent play. I think he was expecting that. Didn't have his complete balance. It'll be a corner kick. That nearly found its way to the net.
Yeah, that had eyes for the back of the net, and Nashville needed a bit of luck. Been desperately unlucky on a few of their opportunities, and this one, it takes a wicked deflection, goes straight up in the air with the wind, and Lima tracks it very well to tip that over his crossbar.
But in swinger, Lima was first to it. Out to the perimeter, forward. Byron, who's been one of the standouts of the second half from a Nashville perspective. His service in. Hayes. Enriquez plays to the far side. Searching it for any sort of space. You admire Nashville continuing to try to find anything. But the degree of difficulty very high. Seventh shot of the match for Nashville.
Facing forward, last line, every time.
Did see this Brazilian side start to play a little bit more free that last trip down.
Now we do it. Now it's more time.
We'll get a yellow for time wasting. Lima will.
Well, if you thought the result didn't matter, you can tell right here it does. It's a clever play here just to take the yellow. Up 2 goals, plenty of time, but no rush here from the goalkeeper.
I was kind of surprised a little bit the way they were going for that third and like you said, trying to make it very apparent they were pressing for more. But after that last sequence nearly resulted in a Nashville goal, perhaps a bit more conservative now.
Stop!
Just seconds left though. Rogalski turns. Palmeiras, 2 goals in the first half. They've done the work they've needed to since. And through ball cut off. Whistle really may blow at any moment now. Cacao trying to dance through defenders. Out of play for a Palmeiras corner. They will be in no hurry. The realization that they've won this already apparent. Seen some handshakes, high fives. The job is done here in Bradenton. And that will conclude the Premier Bracket Division. Palmeiras takes the Premier Championship 2-0 here in the final over Nashville SC. A pair of goals in the first half from Pedro and Antonio Marcos. They dominate the Premier Division. 10 goals, 0 allowed. What a performance after the group stage of play.
Yeah, they built their way into the tournament, and It'd been interesting to see if they would have found their footing a little earlier, what they could have done in the championship bracket, but make no mistake about it, once they got going, they did not look back, gave up nothing. Very athletic, competitive, defensively, anything direct. Very comfortable, gobbling up, and then the speed on the flanks for me made the difference.
Adidas man of the match, Antonio Marcos. He had that second goal, which was brilliantly set up from the far side by De Silva.
Yeah, but it's the run for me that is so special, because the obvious choice is to continue to sprint towards goal, looking for the straight ball across for the easy tap in. So to be able to redirect your run, to cut it back and expect your teammate to backheel it to you, shows the connection that those two have. De Silva, lovely little backheel, and Antonio Marcos does the rest.
Kalen, it's been a fun week.
It's been a blast, man.
See you in Nashville, maybe.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm going to start walking.
Start walking.
These running shoes. Thank you, Adidas.
I'm taking the over.
I'm going to remember that.
Our final score here from IMG Academy at the GA Cup Premier Bracket Final. Palmeiras 2, Nashville 0. Coming up in just moments, 5 o'clock start, the U18 final, Colorado Rapids and Orlando City. We'll see you then.
This copyrighted broadcast of the 2025 Generation Adidas Cup may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer and Player Development, LLC.